Markets Live. Howard Greenberg here, your host. Let me just make sure everything is streaming correctly. Okay, well, as you can see, I have my Quasar Markets dashboard set up here and on the screen to the right. Seeing the market sort of turn over a little bit, not exactly, not a complete pullback. We still see QQQ up over half a point, but the SPY has dropped by. It's only up about a quarter of a point right now. As you can see to the heat map, Bitcoin down about 2%, Ethereum down 3%. Solana took a big hit, having trouble holding that 130 level. As we can see, 133.13 right now, but it's having trouble holding that level here. So something to keep an eye on the crypto side. On the stock sides, Nvidia, Apple. Was looking at some of the big gainers today, so let's pull up some of those. First one I saw was Bryn Miller Energy. Bryn Miller Energy up about 230% so far today. You can see that sucker had been sitting at about 0.60 cents, now trading at $2.12. So quite a move there. I did see that they released that they had found a new pipeline, so that was part of it. As it said here, their shares are soaring after reported financial reports Thursday. They reported first half losses per share of 45 cents, up from 302 year over year, but it announced it's exploring ways to expand its capabilities to deliver cold thermal energy storage for AI centers. So again, AI, but the biggest part had been that they had found a new pipeline there. So that's a big jumper. Focus Universal, another big jumper here, up 89% on the day. And part of that is that this morning it was announced that their CEO picked up 300,000 shares himself. So pretty big insider buy there has led to a big push up here in Focus International. That's an advertising and marketing service, works a lot in universal smart implementation platforms that help provide solution for embedded design into computers. So high-tech computer company, but another big gainer. Another one was AGAP ATP, a health technology company, up about 60% here. And says that they're pleased to announce a series of significant updates, continued growth and sustainability. They're implementing a 1-for-20 reverse stock split of their common stock. So, positive news there, moving them. Money Hero Limited, another one up 32%. And Mountain Crest Acquisition Corp up about 48%. So we do have some big market moves to the upside here this afternoon. Let's take a look at the ones that we were watching today. So Dell, we know, had good quarterly earnings, still up about 2.89%. You can see it did hit highs earlier today of about 115.36. Has come down from those levels. Had shot up on earnings as much as 120, so it's given back about half of the money it had that move up there. So not expected that. You see that a lot. It's sell the news. So we did see that. Lululemon, which had made a move up again on their earnings call, now has retraced all of that and down. So analysts probably looking at that and finding some things that they don't like in there. But they've given back all of their gains, as we can see. Elastic NV, we knew that they missed earnings badly. They've dropped down. Marvel, another tech stock that had moved up in the pre-earnings, pre-market move, giving back a lot of that. Still up about 7% for the day, but had been as high as 79, now around 75, so it's giving back about 7%. Ulta's done a pretty decent bounce back, so that's kind of the performance you want to see. If I had to guess, a lot of people have faith in our boy Warren Buffett, and you can see a nice little U formation. What I'd be looking at here now is set up a horizontal line based on that, and as we approach 368.87 here, if I was a dip buyer, I'd be looking to maybe shed a little bit and then see what happens as it reaches that 368.87 level. But nice bounce back by Ulta. GameStop, we've got a little bit of a move up, still 2% today, but it doesn't look like the apes are going to be able to get that going too far. It's already 11:40. Got a couple more hours here before expirations. What's volume look like on them? That volume's kind of low, so their average 30-day volume 6.4 right now. They're only at 3, so right about average. I will say though, if you look at SPY, they're doing about 1/5 of their average volume for the last 30 days right now. So you can see, it is sort of vacation time. A lot of people taking off already there. Let's go back through some of the ones we were looking at. Alibaba had that nice gain. Here's the opposite. This one looks like it wants to retrace back. It has pretty much retraced back. Now the question is, will it fill the gap? You can see here you have this gap. Question, will we gap back down to that 81 level, or does it find a floor here at about where it opened the pre-market this morning? So the question there is, will we gap? That's what we're wondering here. Not a ton of movement out of T-Mo's parent company, so you can kind of see, since that drop Monday morning, hasn't been a heck of a lot. Taking about a 5% swing up and down. Today it is up 1.53%, but not a big move there. Ido, again, they're another one that looks like it's trying to try. Well, we'll see. Seeing a little momentum here in the 11 o'clock hour, but otherwise it had been straight drop off. So we might see a little bit of buying through here through the lunch period. Intel showing great, blew right through that first resistance level I showed, right through what I would have said is my second level at 2177 here. Yeah, you pretty much got some blue skies over here, as you can see. You've got room. Up to this 2911 now you could really look at. That'd be the trading zone I'd be looking at right there. Autodesk, we knew, took the big move up. It's retraced more than half of that now. So again, another one you'd probably look to complete that U formation, N formation, excuse me. Mondo holding up pretty well. This is one I pointed out this morning too. It likes to move. Let's put this on the hourly. So hit resistance at 291, right at the top of that linear. Another one here, sort of blue sky. You don't have a lot of experience with it in the last couple of years between 285 and 334. So Mongo could be a runner today. And one that's up in volume 3 times its normal 30-day volume has already been done today. So this is one where they are playing definitely. So fun one to watch here, Mongo. It can move. That's the minute chart. You can see I'm still on a nice upward linear regression channel here. Doesn't have 285.14. Get above that, you get room to 295 there. Okay. So that's a look at the ones we were looking at today. CRM Salesforce continuing to fall. So had that real nice earnings report, 8.72% beat on earnings and about 1.5% beat on revenue. It moved it up from 258 all the way to 274, but we've now retraced back below that level. You can see we've even dropped back to below the low just before the earnings call. So Salesforce really giving back everything here. I would say on the daily chart you're now seeing downside. First support's at 251 basically. Next level of support at 247. So those would be the next two levels I'd be watching here. Nvidia. So Nvidia right at that support level. It did bounce at that 116.95 I pointed out earlier. And we had targeted where it had dropped down to at that 123 to the upside, but here any break below that 116.95 gives some pretty decent downside back towards maybe 100. 103 anyways. Tesla not able still to break out of that descending channel of highs on the daily chart. You can see here, even as you break it down to the hourly, that's really been it. It's right at it right now. So Tesla's at a make it or break it spot here for its afternoon. Can it continue its increase, get above that, stay above that 2% increase, or does it revert back down like we've seen some of these other? It is holding a little bit more momentum here. You know, you entered this from the bottom, so you don't mind that. That's a pretty good ascending triangle. Snowflake, again we pointed out on this one, although it's gonna seems like it, you know, we came to here, had a lower high and now a lower low. So again, what you normally see is something in this direction based on that. So not as great as you'd like to see there. Like to see there. Apple now almost down a point, so we're seeing definite move in the wrong direction there by Apple today. And we had sort of pointed that out again. Another one, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows again. So now that continuation has come. from here. We had said if it came back across that yellow line there, we got some big downward size. Linear regression held up on the first time. See if that falls. But anything below 226 here gives Apple more downside. Amazon, nice move up here today, 1.77%. You know, it had the nice gap up on Wednesday, and it's holding momentum. So here, 177.16, where we had the spot. In this area here, Monday the 26th would be where, so can we get above where we couldn't get above on Monday, come back towards the highs of last week, around 182 is the question there on Amazon. For our RSI starting to rise up, hourly I would have to say is probably getting pretty high too. So you can see RSI approaching 70 again. It's failed at 3 attempts to claim 176. So that's the first thing I'd be looking at. Let's see, Nordstrom's trying to break to the north here. That's usually a decent side. What's the volume look like? My volume's not too bad. A third of it. Not as bad as some of the others we're looking at today. So there are some people playing here. You know, usually you get an upward move on that. Cole's giving a little look of the M formation here, right? Up, back down, up, and now coming down again. You usually see that continuation back towards that level that you have up in the move there. Abercrombie coming back a little bit. Affirm continuing its breakout here. So that's a pure flyer at this point. And you got upside to 50 still, so you still got about 20% upside there. So that's going to be an interesting one for people to play here. Okay. Well, I'm going to play an interview I had with Scott Bauer of Prosper Trading Academy the other day, talking about a trader's mindset. And when we come back from that, I will be doing a session on short sellers and, you know, sort of talking about what they do, how they do it, and a little bit into Heidenberg, who just did the one on SCMI. So, you know, I think that would be a good segment for us to take a look at there.
Have blowout earnings and the stock falls. Why? Because
there we go. Good afternoon, Quasar Market Live. I am so happy to be here with my first guest, Scott Bauer, the CEO and founder of Prosper Trading Academy, who I'm proud to say my former employer, great guy, and, you know, just one of the best educators I've ever seen when it comes to financial stuff. How you doing today, Scott?
I am so excited to be here, be the first one ever on QM Live. I mean, this is going to be awesome, groundbreaking. I'm great. How are you, Howard?
I'm doing great. It's been an interesting day. It looks like we're trying to move up. At least Bitcoin is. QQQ, I can't get moving today.
No, down about 1% right now. Nasdaq was kind of flatlined earlier today, and then it's really getting hit the most out of any of the sectors. I mean, the Dow is still barely positive. S&Ps are down a smidge. The small caps, the Russell, still positive. So, probably, in my opinion, just a little profit taking off of last week's euphoria.
That makes a lot of sense. So one of the things I wanted to do was I was in a chat with you the other day where you were explaining to some sort of newbie retail traders about the trader's mindset, and it's something I know before I started at Prosper, I didn't look at things this way, and I was really what you call a permabull. I just always was buying with it. It can still go up, it can still go up, and I was hoping that you could really explain to our viewers what that trader's mindset is.
Sure. So I think first off, someone that's trading in the markets has to understand or has to set out as a goal. Are they trading or are they investing? Because they are completely two different things. And so many people that I come across look at trades more so as an investment. And that's where, kind of this terminology that you just talked about, permabull, comes in, where no matter what, they're buying something with the opinion or the mindset that it's going to go up because the market always goes up. And listen, if you've been long in this market, for years and years, you've done pretty well. But if you're trading, that is different. If you're investing, great. Think about where things are going to be 9 months, 2 years, 10 years from now. If you're trading, I want to think about where it's going to be in a minute, in 6 hours, in 2 days, in a week, that kind of time frame. So, the perma bull, meaning someone that just thinks things are going up, 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 maybe in the long run, you think they are. Great. But if you're trading, maybe you're looking at technicals, you're looking at your charts, whatever it may be, and say, you know what, this stock doesn't look so good right now, even though I like it for the long term. If I'm going to make a trade on it, a short-term trade, maybe it's okay to buy some puts or sell call spread or whatever it is. So again, I think so many, especially newer traders, just get locked in to the market only going one direction and thinking about, boy, a stock like Amazon or a stock like Nvidia, I mean, gotta have that in my IRA, right? Gotta have that in my 401k. Great, but that doesn't mean that you can't trade it to the short side. So that's one of the things I really like to impress upon my students and people that I come in contact with is first thing you need to do is separate the trader mentality from the investor mentality.
Absolutely. And to go even a step further is to understand what you're trading. I can't tell you how many times when I was at Prosper, people would just trade sometimes, they would come to us and say, I did this. Well, why'd you do it? And they didn't even understand what they were trying to accomplish, what that trade actually needed to do to be profitable or to not be profitable. And then having a stop loss, having a target price, where you want to take some profit. So many traders just go in without those setups, and it really sets them off at a disadvantage.
There's no question about it. And I think that as a trader, whether you're a day trader or a swing trader, whatever it is, especially if you're newer, you're anxious. You're anxious to make a trade. You're anxious to get in on the action. You got to feel the vibe. You got to feel the juice. And so a lot of traders will make trades that they probably shouldn't, just because they need to feel that they're in the game, right? So often, Howard, and you know this, so often the best trade is no trade at all, right? If the stars are not aligning for what you're looking at in terms of whatever technical indicators you're looking at or whatever it else might be, okay, they don't align. don't trade. And I can guarantee you, after doing this for 35 years, I can 100% guarantee you there's going to be another trade to make that fits all of the parameters that you want it to. But, so many people get caught up with FOMO.
Yeah, and like you said, again, allocation of, funds, not understanding that, you should almost never be 100% allocated because you're stuck. I mean, like, it's crazy, And then a second part of that is, I think that you do a good job of talking about and teaching is, if you've got 5 or 6 positions, they shouldn't all be directionally one way, because
totally agreed with that as well. Totally agreed. I mean, realistically, you're not going to have a balanced portfolio. You're just not. You're not going to have 50-50, bullish or bearish. It just doesn't work out that way. And that's okay. But you're 100% right. If I have 6, 10, 15 positions on, they're not going to all be with the hope that the market is moving one way or the other. That is that is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, that's one thing. And another one that I think I see a lot of times that is a little bit of a misnomer is when people think they're hedging, a bullish portfolio with the VIX. And that's volatility. And, again, something that I didn't understand until I started working at Prosper. So maybe if you could touch a little bit on the difference between the two and why the VIX isn't an actual true, look at a bearish position.
Yeah. So everybody looks at the VIX as the fear indicator in the marketplace, and we know the VIX does move inversely typically to the market. Market goes up, VIX goes down, vice versa. That doesn't mean, though, that volatility can't continue to move higher even when the market moves higher. Now, in what we saw 3 weeks ago in the, I'm not even going to call it the collapse of the market, the 2-day craziness we saw with the Japan carry trade, the yen carry trade, and when we saw VIX absolutely skyrocket, well, yes, people were buying VIX calls in the hopes that volatility would pick up. Now, when does volatility pick up? Typically when the market sells off, but it is not a direct hedge against long positions. It is, if you want to say, a hedge against an S&P portfolio, but not against individual equities. If you want to take it and go, that next step further, what you really need to do is look at, any positions you may have in your portfolio, whether it's, anything from commodities to NVIDIA, Amazon, whatever it might be. And then you have to look at that correlation or that beta to the S&P 500 to really determine if you're getting a hedge out of your VIX, because the VIX is a 30-day forward look at the volatility in the S&P 500. That's what it is. So, when VIX gets down to low levels, low teens, mid-teens right now, typically it's a buy. When VIX skyrocketed a few weeks ago into the 30s, and we actually saw a print, and I say a print because it wasn't really trading there, but a print in 60 plus handle, it's a sell. But you're right, Howard, that's what it indicates is the level of volatility as just opposed to a hedge against your overall portfolio.
Absolutely. I appreciate that, Scott. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about what Prosper Trading Academy does. I know personally from having worked there, but if you could let our viewers know what you and Scott and Mike and Charlie and all the boys do over there and how they can get in touch with you.
Absolutely. So we are an education trading academy, an education platform. It's education first. I've been in this business for 35 years, both as a floor trader and as an educator. I learned my way. I learned this business in the pits like you see behind me here, and I've been doing it for 35 years. Mike Shore, one of our other educators, same thing. Charlie Moon never traded on the floor. Charlie Moon came into this business with a poker background, actually, and applied a lot of the principles in statistics and probabilities from what he did in poker to trading, and is unbelievably successful. But what we do on a daily basis while the markets are open is we work live with our students while the market is trading, and we discuss potential positions. We discuss why we may want to do this, why we might want to do this. And yes, we do put out trade signals. And yes, they are, they're traded and we track performance and all of that. But I would tell you for 90, 85% of the day, it's all about the education. It really is. Yes, I know it's my company, but there is not a finer education, financial education company out there. Between what you get from the live mentorship each and every day to our video archives and all of the data and all of the resources that we have. But most importantly, the one-on-one interaction that our students get with professionals.
And I can speak to that. I saw it firsthand. I still talk to a lot of the students in your rooms on a daily basis or a weekly basis that were, students of mine at the time on the crypto room that we had. And, the level of devotion that you guys, work through when someone does make a trade that's outside of the parameters and then says, hey, how do I get out of this? The three of you guys working together, look at all the angles, all the different ways you can try to help somebody. Is nothing but legendary in the industry. So we're so happy to and that's what we're going to try to do here at Quasar Live. Is we want to not just bring the news, we want to bring an education to it. We want to teach people, what are you looking at when they make that announcement about durable goods? What should be happening? What are you looking at to happen from it? And how can you make actionable decisions from there?
And what are maybe the best decisions, right? Because we can all collectively, look at something, whether it's crypto, a commodity, a stock, whatever, and say, yeah, we should be bullish here. But then how do you approach it? What is the best way? What is the best strategy? What gives you the best bang for your buck? Rather than just saying, I'm going to buy Microsoft right now at 411.88, where it's trading right now. Maybe there's something else that has better bang for the buck. That's what we're giving to our students.
And that is where you guys separate. I can tell you how many times I would hit you up on Slack and tell you I was looking at, Mara or Riot, Bitcoin
Yeah.
ones. I think it's going to go up because earnings are coming or they're about to announce this or that I would know from my side. And you'd say, give me 2 minutes, and you would look at it and come back with a calendar calendar or a
Exactly.
covered call or whatever it was. That was the right way to play it, as opposed to just buying it on a buy. So I do really recommend you guys take a look at what Prosper Trading does. It's prospertradingacademy.com. You can find Scott at CBOESIB and on Twitter. Thank you so much for being my first guest, Scott, and I look forward to talking to you next week.
Always a pleasure, man. You're the best.
Okay, so that was my interview with Scott Bauer, CEO and founder of Prosper Trading Academy. One little last final view here. Let's take a look at what is going on as we run down this segment of Quasar Markets Live. We see the SPY continuing to lose a little bit of momentum here. QQQ still about a half a point up. We're seeing Nvidia. Tesla's trying to break out of that triangle there. Snow still not looking great. Crowd really making that look of an M. Next. Apple, same. Okay, well, Intel breaking into that area here. Okay, so Intel still moving up, leading the pack today, up 8.84%. Thank you for joining me here on Quasar Markets Live. I will be back at 2 o'clock. See you then.